What up? We back.
Yo.
This is another episode of Aiight So Boom. I am your host, LR Blitzkrieg.
I am the marksman.
Yeah, we in the building. We're super excited to talk about episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier because the episode was fire. And let's just go.
Let's get right into it.
Let's rock with it.
You start it up?
Yeah, man. So we open, dark screen, and you hear the music, and you see the lights.
Where the drums at, yo? You got no drums?
Boop, 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 boop. And we are in Wakanda.
No doubt.
Instantly, as soon as it starts, right? Wakanda, 6 years ago.
Wow.
Boom. Ayo and Bucky are in the forest, and they're talking about his deprogramming and how Ayo's like, yo, it's time. We gotta try this. And Bucky's like, no, I don't want to do it. I might hurt somebody. And Ayo's like, yo, fam, number one, I'm Dora Milaje. Number two, you don't have that arm on. You ain't hurting nobody. So we gonna do this. So Ayo starts going through the trigger sequence, right? The words that turn him into the Winter Soldier. And she does it in Russian, right? Because she's like, multilingual. She's Ayo. Ayo. So she starts going through the words, and you can just see on Bucky's face, like, the turmoil and the agony of like just the anguish of feeling like, yo, I don't want to go back to that place. I don't want to turn back into the Winter Soldier. And she gets through all of the words, and he doesn't turn into the Winter Soldier. And Ayo's like, hey, yo, you free. So
amazing.
Yeah, so then right from there we flash back to...
Yeah, I mean, after this, which is a dope scene, we get back off to pretty much where we left off the last episode. So they took us to where Ayo and Bucky are in the streets.
Right.
And they're pretty much, Ayo's interrogating Bucky. Why'd you let him, live? Why'd you break him out of prison? All these questions you assume they're going to ask. Of course, Zemo killed the king. Ayo was chosen by the king to protect the king. So she takes this very personally.
Right.
And they've been on this mission. So she gives them 8 hours. And after 8 hours, we're coming after you.
Right.
No questions asked.
Right. Boom. So Bucky goes back to Zemo's safe house where him and Sam is chilling. He's like, look, the Wakandans are here. I thought I should let y'all know. But, I told them to chill for a minute. I bought us some time.
Right.
He also tells them, because I think he gets a text, and he's like, yo, Carly bombed the GRC depot.
Right.
And, some people were hurt. Few people were killed. And she's going to continue these attacks unless her demands are met. Right. And Zemo's like, yo, she's a supremacist, and we gotta take her out. Yeah. And Sam is like, no, I don't feel like that's what we gotta do or whatever. She's not still. How you figure she's a supremacist? And he says all super soldiers are supremacists, right. And anybody that wants to be one is a supremacist. And Sam says, well, what about Steve Rogers? And, Zemo's like, well, touche, but there's never been another Steve Rogers. Right.
And then they show Anthony.
Word. And with the light behind him, right? Like you said. So Sam's like, look, we got to find out where they are. And I remember, I had a TT who, I think, did she pass away or somebody passed away? Yeah,
she passed away.
Right, and she was like, the whole hood loved her. Right. So they had like a week-long, thing for her, and maybe that's something that's going on for Mama Danya. And they're like, TT? What's a TT? It's like, listen, it's an aunt. Don't worry about it. It's a black thing. Mind your business. So they say, well, maybe we can find out where the funeral is by going back to the refugees, right. and ask them if there is such a funeral going on. Right.
So boom, we have the flag smashers now. This is the after effects of their mission, right? They just murdered a whole bunch of people. Yeah. So now the GRC, in response, they're speeding up the effects of the Patch Act, right? So that they can really just restore these borders that the world is used to, right? And maybe if they did that, possibly we can kind of alleviate some of this tension.
Yeah, the world's going to go back to what it was before. quicker because of what the Flag Smashers did.
Right, kind of accelerating what they didn't want. So this is where Carly is really a lot of pressure is being applied to her, you know, so that she can be able to execute this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was a quick scene. So boom, they go back to where Sam, Bucky, and Zemo go back to where they can find a bunch of the refugee people, and Sam's walking through the halls asking people, "Yo, you know somebody named Mama Danya? You know Mama Danya?" And everybody's like, "I don't know nothing. My name's Bennett. I ain't in it," and they walk away.
Right.
So he's trying this. I think Bucky was trying it a little bit, but it's not working for anybody.
Right.
And at one point, Sam gets to a place where one of the guys is teaching a child. It's like a little classroom, and he goes, "You know, do you know Mama Danya, whatever?" He's like, "Listen, we don't trust strangers here. We don't talk to nobody. Like, leave me alone."
Right.
And he's like, "Listen, I know what you refugees are going through." He's like, "Hold up. I'm not a refugee. I'm an internationally displaced person."
Don't play
right?
yourself.
and all of us are.
Right.
So he's like, "Look, we don't trust y'all. We don't trust the GRC. The GRC told us that aid was coming. That was 6 months ago. Aid never came.
Right.
And so we have to depend on ourselves and, not only not look to outside people to help us, but not even, communicate with y'all." He's like, "I know who you are, but peace. Like, out my face." So then Zemo outside, he has some Turkish delights in his pocket, some candy that he had back at the safe house. He gave Sam one earlier. He walks up to one of the little girls and he's like, "Hey, listen, I got, he's singing Baba Black Sheep." So anyway, not You Can Get With This, not that one. Anyway, also, right?
That's funny.
So he gives one of the kids a piece of candy. Very smart to try and talk to the kids instead of the adults because they have, less fear of talking to strangers, unfortunately.
It's easy.
Yeah, I'm telling my daughter right now, don't talk to strangers. Anyway, so he's like, "Listen, these used to be my son's favorite candies," and the girl eats the candy and he's like, "I have a friend. Her name is Mama Danya, and I heard she died. She passed away, and she was a dear friend of mine. I want to pay my respects. Do you know where this is going down or whatever?" And the kid talks to him, gives him information, and then he's like, "Yo, you see those two dudes right back there, that white and that black dude? Don't talk to them. They're bad people. So let's keep this information to ourselves." Does the lock lips thing, walks off. And then he goes back to Sam and Bucky, and they're like, "Yo, what was that all about?" He's like, "No, I just talking to my peoples."
Listen, Zemo's showing how smart he is. Sam's going in there asking for people directly. Zemo took the more subtle route. And in Baba Black Sheep is one of those English those little childish rhymes that pretty much talk about how people are getting taxed. "Have you any wool?" "Yes sir, yes sir, 3 bags full, 1 for..." It's a very interesting kind of like grim, childhood nursery rhyme. But anyway, we're back at the safe house. They form a nice little team, this little Zemo team, Team Zemo. But philosophy is really the crux of their interaction. They're talking about, where Carly is and how she's not necessarily wrong.
Right.
The world came back together, at the time of need after the blip, it was needed, and the way people are trying to get things back to where they used to be, which isn't a crime. You can't really blame people for wanting some normalcy and to achieve some balance. She's different from Zemo because, they fought for different motivations. She's fighting for freedom at the end of the day, and autonomy and, for people to live a better life.
Yeah. And also that, when half the planet disappeared, the people came together, right?
Yeah.
And now it seems like the world's being pulled apart back to the same way it was before where, people were treated badly for no reason, and right now, or at least 5 years ago, when this tragedy happened, everybody came together because everybody needed to help everybody.
Right.
And that's the whole philosophy of the Flag Smashers, one world, one people.
Right.
But the governments want to section everything back off again, and also, and while doing that, are going to displace a lot of people again.
Right.
Because you're going to pull them out of their homes because you say you don't belong here, you belong in this country over here, you belong in this state over here.
Yeah.
Or, or this is not really your house, even though you've been here for 5 years. This is not your house.
Yeah.
So we taking you out of you know what I'm saying?
It's a lot, man. I mean, you gotta imagine. It's a very strong possibility that racism wasn't as big of an issue during those 5 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how could you think about racism when half the planet just disappeared? I don't care who you are. Can we do something to make our lives better right now? Because my wife is gone, my husband's gone, my half my family's gone, whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show on HBO?
Leftovers?
The Leftovers, yeah.
Yeah, not too much, honestly. I didn't even get through the first season, but I'm aware of the show.
Leftovers was a really good show. I think it was done by the guy that did Watchmen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The same guy adapted it, yep.
Yeah, really, it was a good show. I mean, it was a lot more weirdness than you would maybe want. Right? Like, you had to decipher a ton.
Right.
But it was a great show, man.
Right.
And it reminded me of, the
blip. No, that's definitely a good... I mean, even what's going on now reminds me of the blip. Yeah. Like, I refer to the pandemic sometimes as the blip. When you refer to how we're coming back from it.
Or in biblical terms, the rapture, right? It's the same thing. So
yeah, that's true. Didn't think about that, too. I mean, we're definitely in those times. Well, they're talking about the funeral, right? The Zemo has this information, but he's not giving it up as yet. He's kind of keeping his leverage. But of course, Bucky is like, "I will smash your face in." He kind of,
right. He takes his cup, throws it against the wall.
Right. I mean, emotions are getting high at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, Sam calls out to homie in the field. That's Sharon. Sharon has a lot of access.
Did you say Power Broker?
I didn't say that. I said Sharon.
You said Sharon?
I said Sharon.
Oh, Power Broker. Gotcha.
But if you're out there and you watch this show and you think that Sharon is the Power Broker, she definitely inched closer to that theory. With her access to multiple satellites. They're always talking about the Power Brokers watching, the Illuminati.
Power Brokers watching. She's got satellites.
I still think it's a misdirect. I still think Sharon is too low on the ladder to be the Power Broker.
Guys, please in the comments tell me who you think the Power Broker is. We have 2 episodes left. I would hope by the end we find out who the Power Broker is. We may not. We may never find out in this. We may not find out until a movie who the Power Broker is.
Kevin Feige ain't doing that. Because remember, Kevin Feige wants these things. Well, I mean, let me not say you can't. I believe, we're going to know who the Power Broker is. I think it's going to be somebody. Well, we have a cameo. We're going to talk about it later. But there's a cameo that we're supposed to have. I think we're going to get it soon. But I don't think it's Sharon.
It's possible.
Anything's
Place your bets,
possible,
people. Which is
anything
great.
is definitely possible.
But tell us, man. Please put in the comments.
And I like the fact that we don't agree on this. Because we are able to really have a definitive outcome.
Yeah, and it makes the show more fun. Because, you're hedging your bets. Trying to see what it is. So anyway, Zemo is talking to Sam and telling Sam how he thinks, Carly has to die. And Sam is like, nah, she's different because of all the reasons that we just discussed, right?
Right.
But when Sam talks to Sharon, she's walking through her little compound, right, with all her guards and her soldiers. Power Broker. And she says, the Power Broker's really upset over here. Right. He's really upset over here.
AKA me.
Right, AKA me. Just find Carly.
Find Carly.
Right.
For me, I mean him.
Word. So boom, we get to where Carly and the Flag Smashers are at a cemetery, and they push over one brick and then they move the other one over, and in there they're able to get where they've hidden the rest of the serum that the Power Broker is actually looking for in this little leather pouch with like a little strap over it, right? I mean,
need something better, right?
Guys. Anyway, so they're at the grave, and they have, and that one flag smasher is talking about, I can't remember his name, but he's talking about how back when he was younger, he used to idolize Captain America, and you get into this good dialogue that he's basically saying, you know, and she's like, I don't know if I should laugh at you for that, and he's like, nah, you know, back then it made sense to me, and the world was all black and white, but now the world is different, and there's, you know, shades of gray, and you're the people's champion. You're the new Captain America, because, you know, you fight for the people. And she's like, yeah, you know, but, you know, without the shield, because the shield needs to be destroyed. The shield shouldn't be here. It's a symbol of a bygone era, and you know, doesn't serve the people. It's just a basically a kick in the face to the people that, you know, get left behind. Yeah. So boom, we're getting to the point where they're heading to the funeral. They assemble a little bit. Of course, John Walker is being a hothead. Of course, he's being a hothead. Of course, you know, Zemo is able to kind of, you know, provide information. Literally points at the little girl straight ahead. So if you'd calm down for a second, I'd lead you. You know, so they pretty much, you know, Sam establishes he wants to talk to her alone. They have a little banter going back and forth. John's like, she just exploded a building, killed all these people. Like, don't think a peaceful option is where we're going right now. Sam's like, listen, this is what I used to do, man. I used to do this. We met Sam in Winter Soldier talking to trauma victims. So we know that he has this in his you know, in his repertoire. The capability to talk to people and talk
on a high
down.
level. On a high level, you know. So that's definitely established. And of course, we're establishing Sam as Captain America. So we need to have that established. So anyway, they go into the funeral. Cap finally is like, fine, whatever. Little girl leads them where the funeral is. And then pretty much Cap's like, listen, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. He locks up Zemo with a handcuff against his furnace. 10 minutes, and then I'm going in. Right.
So Carly is leading this funeral. She's giving, you know, eulogy and talking about Mama Danya and how she brought the people together and she helped so many people, and how we have to continue to stick together even though she's not here anymore, and fight against the people who oppress us. We know who they are, you know who they are. And as she's telling all of this, she sees Sam up in the rafters or on the next floor, and she thinks, it looks like she thinks about maybe stopping and like, you know, telling everybody to get out of there, but she just keeps going because in the hopes that like he won't, you know, disturb this funeral, which he doesn't. So everybody leaves, and then he comes down, and she's like, you know, I saw you up there, and he's like, yeah, you know, that's where I was. So so they start having this conversation. They start talking about how she needs to stop. This is going too far. And, you know, he's basically trying to get her to understand his point of view. Then flashback from there, you have Cap, Bucky, Zemo, and Battlestar, you know, a couple rooms away, and Cap's getting antsy. He's like, yo, I need to go in. You know, it's taking too long. And then he goes up to Bucky and he's like, you know, you let your partner go in there with a super soldier. And he's like, first of all, he's not my partner, and you know,
he knows what he's doing.
Basically, you know, talking like, look, man, he knows what he's doing. So then Cap looks at him like up and down. He's like, I bet this is real easy for you with all that super serum running through your veins. And you know, Bucky's looking at him like, man, don't make me hurt you.
All the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, you definitely see that John Walker desire, that super serum desire in John Walker's face. You can definitely see all that.
Yeah. So back to Sam, and you know, he's talking to Carly in the where the funeral was being held, and he's definitely telling her that he understands, you know, where she's at with it, and he understands what she's about, and he agrees with her, but he just doesn't agree with her methods. And it was always interesting to me in that conversation how he didn't give her some insight into how he understands her, because he's from New Orleans, right? It would have made sense for him to flash back to the the 2005 floods that happened there, and how all the people in New Orleans, or most of the at least the poor people, were displaced and taken away from their homes, or their homes taken away from them, and them not being taken care of the same way that she feels like the refugees are now. It was just interesting to me that I thought that was a little note, especially with them allowing him to place himself in New Orleans, or be from New Orleans, and making that such a big part of the show, that they didn't go there.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
They may bring it up later.
Yeah. So anyway, Sam is trying to reason with her, and then Cap, he finally says, I'm going in. He goes in. He busts in. By the way, Zemo, once that happened and everybody rushed in, Zemo bounced. Peaced out, right? So she feels like, oh, is this what this was? It was a stall tactic? You were just trying to keep me here so your Captain America could come and get me?
Right.
And
well, that hard work.
Yeah, but then, Cap tries to get Carly. Carly punches him in the chest, and she bounces up out of there. She runs upstairs, and then, Zemo comes. He starts busting shots, like wow, 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 right? He shoots Carly in the stomach, and she flips over a table. And as she flips over the table, she drops the serum that she had in this little leather pouch.
You had one job, Carly.
Yo, fam, like, they got cases for, like, fragile stuff like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, she drops it all, and Zemo's like, this isn't what I think it is it? Right. And if you thought he was going to pick it up, you're dead wrong, because he starts smashing it. Bang, bang, bang. He's just smashing all super soldier serum,
File smashers.
Yeah. So then, Cap finally catches up to them, and he knocks Zemo out with the shield, right? Again, he should have died from being hit with the shield, but whatever. I think anybody should die from getting hit with a metal shield. I don't care if it's made of vibranium or what. But
in the neck, too.
At any rate, he goes down, and Cap goes over there, and he sees that Zemo missed a vial, and it rolled off to the side, and he picks it up, and he
the head tilt,
looks around, sneaks it in his pocket, and that's the end of that scene.
No doubt. We have Carly. She's talking with the Flag Smashers. She keeps getting these texts, this "I'm gonna kill you" text from the Power Broker.
Right.
Maybe it's Sharon, maybe it's somebody else, but somebody wants their serum back. Carly, and interestingly enough, I find Carly, anytime she gets a text from the Power Broker, she doesn't take it seriously. And that's something that is just a note to me. Yeah. I don't know how.
She's there with these two other Flag Smashers, and they're like, yo, fam, we cannot fight two battles at once. There's only like 7 of us.
Right.
So we can't fight the Power Broker and fight, the Captain America over here all at the same time. And she's like, yeah, Power Broker, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Basically. Seemed really weird to me.
I mean, we'll see why. But, they're talking about, separate. Divide and conquer is always the smartest, tactic, especially when you're dealing with super-powered beings. Yeah. But we're back at the safe house. Zemo's chilling. Sam is checking his messages from the broker. He's going back and forth.
From the what?
Sorry.
From the what?
I'm sorry. He's going back and forth with Sharon because Sharon has these satellites. She has a lot of intel they don't have on the ground.
Yeah.
They're going back and forth, and their banter is very important because this conversation has a lot to do with the serum and the validity of who deserves to have the serum.
Right.
He asks Sam if he would take the serum, and Sam pretty much answers immediately, no, I wouldn't, without hesitation, which impresses Zemo.
Right.
And impressing Zemo isn't that easy, right? He wants to test his vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So pretty much she's like, Carly, because Carly is on this level that's above human, she has to die. She has to be taken out. And these super soldiers can't exist in this world, and Sam pretty much kind of correlates this with, how are you different? This is how gods talk. This is how killers talk. Like, why would
you're calling them supremacists, but you're saying who deserves to live or die. So you're basically talking like a goddess.
It's such a catch-22.
Yeah.
These conversations they end up being very philosophical for that reason, because there's a lot of chicken and egg and what comes first and what's necessary. So that's important to be able to kind of maintain. So it's Sam being the Cap as he is, he's talking about how blood isn't always the answer.
Right. And if you feel like all super soldiers need to die, well, what about Bucky? Right? Like, does he deserve to die? You see him out here after post Winter Soldier, and he's pretty much a good dude, right? Just like Cap was, just like you said earlier. Cap was the exception.
Right.
There's never been another Cap, but there's never been another Bucky, right? Bucky's doing pretty well himself too. So maybe it's changing somewhat Zemo's mind about who needs to live and die or whatever. Maybe. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see. Zemo's focused.
Yeah.
But Bucky joins the conversation, and they bring up John Walker. I'm still not calling him Cap, y'all.
Yeah.
John Walker.
Fat.
Fake Cap.
Fake Cap. Fat.
But he said he knows crazy when he sees it, and that's a joke, but he knows that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Bucky just definitely has a lot of experience in that realm. This is when, Cap...
This is when he gets really good.
Fake Cap, John Walker, and Battlestar. You call him Fragile Star.
Fragile Star.
Which is hilarious. You're talking about the black man being the first to go, but we'll talk about that later. They bust in. And the Cap has a little standoff with Sam.
Right. The non-super soldier in the room. John
Walker is really losing control, and he's a control freak, and that really bothers him.
Even visually, it's funny that when we first saw him, he was super clean cut, clean shaved, and as time goes on, his beard gets a little scruffier.
They haven't shaved him since he started,
right.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
By the end, he's going to be all, have a full beard, just pissed off.
Am I evil? Anyway.
Right. So that, it's that was definitely used in a very smart way.
Yeah.
We have this face off. He puts his shield down. John Walker puts his field down and pretty much goes, "Yo, we could do this."
Right.
Hand.
Says,
we can go Brooklyn
Sam,
style.
square up. Let's do this.
We can definitely do this. And at this point, as that shield comes down, you see a Dora Milaje in the background throwing a vibranium javelin that pretty much stops the conversation.
Yeah.
That's a very dope moment. We definitely have the Dora Milaje come in. Ayo rolls through, and they're ready for Zemo.
Yeah.
I came here for Zemo. 8 hours is up. I'm sure it was 8 hours to the moment. I'm sure that the 7:59, zero was when that spear hit that wall.
The Ayo Buck, where my Zemo at?
And Buck knows this. Buck and Sam kind of. John Walker's kind of going to addresses the Dora Milaje. He addresses them, hey, we could all work this out. I'm Captain America, points to himself. Right. I'm John Walker, Captain America. That is something that he always needs. That sense of who I am.
Yeah, Sam's like, hey, you might want to scrap with Bucky before you mess with the Dora Milaje.
Sam literally said that.
He said it. And he's like, come on.
John's like, still trying to establish his authority.
Yeah.
He mentions them not having jurisdiction here. Of course, Ayo replies, the Dora Milaje, we have jurisdiction wherever we go.
Ourselves. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wherever you see us is where we at. And then pretty much he calls the spears, put the pointy sticks down.
Yeah, that's what he says. Let's put down the pointy sticks and have a conversation.
Condescending, to the point where he feels so into himself, he has the nerve, the audacity,
the unmitigated gall to put his
hand on Ayo's shoulder.
Damn.
Who do you think you are?
Damn.
Colonizer. That moment was really tough because as fans, we know 1,000% what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You put your hands, and in the hood, you're talking about culture.
Yeah.
Putting your hands on someone is just not something, those are certain laws you just don't pass. Certain cultures, you just don't put your hands on someone. That's just, you say it all, don't put your hands on me. Like, there's certain things just don't.
Aiight So Boom, right? After he thought he could put his hands on Ayo, right?
Yeah.
It was Meet Me in the Mall is going down. Boom.
Cast me outside.
She starts whooping this man all up and down the safe house. Just whooping him.
They show their superiority in battle very, it is very abrupt.
Yeah.
It only involves, matter of fact, Bucky and Sam are pretty much, hey, you doing good there, John? How you doing? Pretty much jeering them. Battlestar, of course, getting just tossed around like paper mache.
Fragile Star.
They only involve themselves when it gets a little bit too homicidal.
Yeah, one of the spears kind of looks like it might be going for somebody's face, and then Bucky grabs Ao's spear, and then they are in the fight now. So it's all of them against the Dora Milaje, but it's the Dora Milaje. I can't stress to y'all enough how you're not going to win.
No, you're not going to win. The best you could do is try to stay alive and prove your point.
Yeah.
Once Bucky got involved and Sam got involved, and they got their asses kicked one by one.
Yeah.
Bucky goes against Ao, kind of holding back the spear, and Ao's like, "Wait, you forgot that arm that you have is ours," and that's
a Wakandan arm.
Puts the passcode, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and drops the arm.
She does the fist of the North Star pressure points.
The Kill Bill 5, the 5, boom, 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 boom.
The Contra code, left, right,
up down, AB, like whatever it is.
In the arm.
That ADT.
It's on the floor. It's gone.
It's on the floor, just wriggling around like a fish.
Yeah, man.
And Sam's face, once again, Sebastian Stan, as an actor, man, we got to have talent in the room. Yeah. You could, without any words.
Yeah, he was so dejected.
The hurt was just, I didn't even know they could even do that. Never mind, would you do that?
Right.
Right. That was definitely a huge moment for him, and a great parallel to the first scene of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great kind of, Yeah. Anyway, so that moment where we realize that, we have Wakandian, one of the Dora Milaje throws a spear and pretty much pegs John Walker to the table.
Yeah.
With his shield, through the armband. That's pretty big, so that he's able to not go anywhere. That puts John Walker in a position where he is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's defeated. The shield is pretty much taken away from him and given back. Ao's like, no, giving back the shield. My homegirl.
Well, first she walks into the bathroom to try and find Zemo, right?
Right. Zemo's gone.
He pieced out. He did his El Chapo through a underground tunnel he had under the tub.
Right.
So he's gone. So she's like, he's gone. Let's get out of here. So then, that's when
she says, she says something interesting. She says, "Boss, damn you, James." And if you remember, Boss is the Panther God. That's the Panther god that gives them their powers.
That's
she said, "Boss, damn you." It's like, God damn you, bro.
Yeah.
It doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah.
Because you let this man go, you had it, all of this stuff. So at that point, my girl has the shield pretty much from John Walker, and flips it. Does the Captain America flip
that he did in the elevator,
which pretty much definitely shows you 100%. This is a vibranium object. We own this. Right. We own a lot of what you're about. So John Walker is just being demoralized. And just his manhood, his masculinity,
it's just shrinking.
His white supremacy.
It's like a cold pool for him right now.
Everything, his American, American first. Everything that he has that soups him up is being attacked at this moment.
And he says, they weren't even super soldiers.
He definitely cried. He definitely cried that.
Yeah.
There were women, there were black women, there were Africans. I mean, there were so many reasons why that should not have went down. If he was more educated, he would have known this is the Dora Milaje, bro. Like, it's nothing. It's okay to get beaten by them.
Yeah.
But all good.
So then after they leave, right? Did you see the look that Sam gave them? Like, it's like
they knew.
You punk.
Now I'm sore because you had an issue. Now I'm hurt.
Right. That look was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, boom. That scene is over, but that was one of the best scenes by far of the entire series, And it didn't take a bunch of special effects or fancy explosions or lasers. It was just
good choreography.
It was amazing, yeah. So Cap and Bucky, Cap and Battlestar, Fragile Star are sitting somewhere talking about, back when they were in the war, and when, John Walker got all of his medals and stuff, and you can tell, he has this PTSD from all of the soldiers they lost when that happened. So then, Cap asks Battlestar Lamar, if you had a chance to take the serum, second time this question is being asked in this episode, right? If you had a chance to take the serum, would you take it? And Lamar's like, in a heartbeat. Like, it's like, put it in front of me, it's gone.
Like,
I've
great
taken
drink.
It. Yeah. So, that was disrespectful. So he asked Cap, what about you? And he was like, well, they say what happens when you take the serum is, it boosts whatever you already have in you. Like, do I have, what it takes? And he's like, of course you got what it takes, man. You've proved yourself in every, battle that you've been in.
Right.
And you have, 3 medals of honor. And, yeah, you got the stuff. You
got the juice?
Yeah, you could do this.
Right.
And he's just like, yeah, I think about back then and how many more lives I could have saved if if I was a super soldier, if we had a super soldier on the field or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can tell like he's really like really hurt by what happened, even though he got out alive and he has some survivor's guilt of coming out of it on top.
Right.
But all of the men that he lost. Again, in some ways humanizing him, but in giving you some of the backstory or the reasons why he is the way he is.
Well, they definitely alluded that, and they kind of insinuated that they did things that they're not proud of. They did things that were wrong.
But that's it seems like that's any war, right? Like they always say even Talos says it's a war. Even I've done things that I'm not proud of.
Right.
Because when you're in war, it would seem the only way to get out alive is to kind of blur your lines of ethics and what you may or may not do to get out of a situation.
Would Steve do that though?
Would he?
Steve wouldn't have regrets like that, Steve wouldn't, but we don't know what he did. We don't, we kind of we're speculating.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, we're now switching. Now we got to switch. Now Carly is reaching out to Sam's sister. She's disrespecting a little bit. She's crossing a line.
You gone too far, Carly.
I mean, to reach out to my fam is a little drastic, but pretty much she calls saying, "I'm trying to figure out. Gonna kill your brother."
Right.
Which imagine your sibling getting that call.
Yeah.
The sister's like, "Nah, I mean, I don't really care about the Cap situation. If that's what you're mad about, and I can assure you, my brother's not working for Cap.
Yeah.
And the sister can confidently say that. She knows enough about Sam to know that. But pretty much, you can leave us out of that part of your crusade.
Yeah.
And Carly's like, "Listen, I hope you're right, but just tell your brother, holla at me."
Yeah. She's like, "Yo, holla. I'm gonna drop a pin. You tell your brother, and y'all gonna get back at me." And she's like, "Well, why are you calling me?" And she's like, "I need him to know that I'm serious,
Right.
And if I have to, have this talk again, it could get ugly for you and your kids. We know your name. We know
named them.
Yeah, named all the kids.
And I heard they like Cheerios.
So that happens. She tells her, watch your back. And then, right after that, obviously, Sam's sister calls him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like...
Immediately.
Yeah, she's like, yo, that little freckle-faced bitch, she just called me up, talking all this rah-rah. And Sam's like, what? Yo, get the cash I left in the shoebox, go to the Holiday Inn, don't talk to nobody, I'm going to handle this.
Use cash.
Yeah.
No, that's important.
Yeah. So...
use cash, people.
It's crazy, man. Anyway, they put on so then they get the pin from Carly.
Right.
And it says, meet us at this location. Sam's like, yo, it says go alone.
Come alone.
Right? Bucky's like, nah, fam, that's not how we do things. Let's go. And they put on their Superman pajamas and they go to the meeting spot, right? So they get all
Sam is done. This is Falcon down.
Right. It's Falcon and Bucky all suited up. They suited. So they go and meet her. And she's like, yo, I told you come alone. And he's like, yeah, but I didn't. What now? Right. And he's mad because he's like, you called my sister?
Right.
You called my sister? Right. So, she's like, look, fam, this, shouldn't be going down like this. It seems like you're a good man. I'm not really sure. But I was going to ask you either join us or let me be out, right? And at that point in time, they're still having this little bit of conversation. He gets the little dee on his Falcon wristband, and it's sharing on speakerphone automatically. And right, he doesn't have an earpiece, whatever. Right. So she's like, "Yo, it's Walker. He's found them, or they found him. I don't know which." And then at that point, everybody knows something is popping off, and Bucky jumps down, and the Flag Smasher like comes and like knocks him. That was dope. She
jumps and kind of rams him into.
Yeah.
That's very important. Of course, Sam doesn't have any Red Wing with him.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking on his back. I was like, "Yo, did he? No. Yeah. There's no Red Wing."
Yeah. So after that happens, fake Cap comes. And they burst in the building with their guns, right? Mm-hmm. Not where Carly was, but where the rest of the Flag Smashers were. It was probably not far away. It's probably like right around the corner or something, right? And then when they bust in, right, he's got his shield up and he got his gun just like original Cap did.
Just like OG Cap.
Yeah. And the first Avenger, I think, is when you see that.
The only time
you
see him with a gun, really.
Yeah. So they bust in the building and they start going up these stairs looking for the Flag Smashers, looking for Carly, and Fragile Star. He gets knocked out real quick. He drops his gun, and they drag him off. So then Cap is all by himself. Mm-hmm. What's he gonna do?
What you gonna do, Cap?
Yeah. Well, so anyway, so he goes up the stairs, and he busts through a door real quick, right? That's when he busts through the door.
The glass door.
Yeah, that's when he busts through the glass door, right? I was like, okay, he can bust through a glass door. I can bust through a glass door if I got a vibrating shield in my hand.
I hope so.
Right. So anyway, what happens after that? Cap's looking around. He fights with a Flag Smasher. He throws a shield at his neck, and that's when he threw it in the wall. Right.
And when he removed it...
Yeah. But he threw it into a wall, and it stuck.
It landed.
Deep. It was like a third of the way into this wall. And I was like, yo, that's not... I don't...
It's questionable when he took it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So, but we already knew that he had, slipped it in his pocket back in the day, and then they was talking about it in the cafe. So, you little... Anyway, so Cap throwing this dude around, right? And Sam comes and he's like, yo, he even like bends a pipe like around his arm or something. Then he's like, yo, you been juicing? And
what did you do?
Yeah. So and then you flash to where Lamar is. They had just like tied him up with like the plastic hand ties.
The basic.
Yeah, and then he pulls out a knife and then, like he's trying to cut himself free, right? So then Bucky, did he beat up a Flag Smasher? I don't remember. I think he did, right? Good for him. Bucky, he kicks the dude through the wall, right? Yeah. He's like, stay there, right? So then now everybody's in the same place. Group fight.
Now this is a very important fight. This is a very, very important fight because this is where you have the standoff between both teams. Everybody's present, and Lamar kind of comes in. But yeah, I mean, you want to break down how this scene goes down? This is pretty. We have a ending.
I mean, they're all fighting for a while. This dude grabs Cap, right?
Right. The same dude is very important. It's the same gentleman who has this, image of Captain America's grandfather was, fought in the war. So he's that guy, who was with Carly. They're still having these conversations. He holds back Cap.
Yeah.
So that Carly can, of course, do the death blow.
Yeah. So he grabs Cap. And Carly flips over a table. She got her knife. What's with all the knives? Cap said that earlier. Yeah. And she goes to stab him in the chest. And
Fragile Star, like, he comes and stops her. Like he knocks her over. And when he knocks her over, she's like, what? and to think about it, it would seem that at this point in time, she already knows that he took the serum, right? You think she knows that John took the serum?
I would assume that if looking at the fight, if she saw what was going on, maybe she also thought that Battlestar had taken the serum, right? So maybe when she punched him, she didn't mean to kill him. She thought it would, it would just affect him the way it would any super soldier. Or maybe she just wasn't thinking about it. You know, she's in the heat of the moment, heat of a battle.
Yeah.
And she punches Fragile Star, and he goes flying into a pillar, and snap. I don't know if he broke his neck, his back, or everything. But that was the end of Lamar Hoskins.
Good night.
Yeah.
I mean, his death. I mean, we've seen in the MCU, we've seen War Machine plummet from hundreds of feet in a suit, and he was still alive.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, this is something whereas he broke his back against this, you know, and I believe, you know, I would chalk it up to Carly. She's not a trained warrior. She just got her serum.
Yeah.
She you know, she fought. You know, and they had this reaction where I didn't kind of mean to kill the dude.
Right.
I meant to get him off my face, but I did not mean to kill him. They kind of have that freezing moment, and this is...
Yeah, everybody was like, oh.
You know, they didn't kind of mean to do that. Of course, we have Carly in this, you know, this fight for her own morality and kind of knowing what she's doing is right and wrong. So now we have John Walker, who is fully vindicated, you know, and justified with his rage and anger.
Yeah,
and his newfound serum.
He snaps. He's totally, you can see it in his eyes. He's just like completely enraged. And, you know, he jumps out the window, literally, you know.
Yeah, superhero pose, superhero landing, rather.
Yeah.
They do a good job with the music. Like, they definitely do a good job to show that this is somebody who's at their limit.
Yeah.
John Walker chases them down on foot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this point, they're at a public square.
Yeah. Lots of people around.
And we mentioned how people... Actually, the name of the episode is The World is Watching.
Yeah.
That is not more true right now. We mentioned like the scene prior last episode with Bucky in that little club, how those cameras are out. The world is watching. So this is another part where that's happening. And John Walker, knowing everyone's looking...
Or not paying attention to any of that. Just wanting to know where Carly is. And the guy's like, it wasn't me. And the guy's, he's like, where is she? You know, Cap is saying to her. And, you know.
That's good a point that my man did plead on camera.
He said, it wasn't me.
He did plead on camera. So imagine all of that is being seen, is going to be seen by the world. And then John Walker kind of puts his foot, you know, puts him down, you know, cacks him down.
He hits him with the shield. He goes shield down and dude falls, He has him on his back, you know, his foot to his chest, and then proceeds to pretty much the same move Cap had done on Iron Man in Civil War to incapacitate him, his armor, you know. Right.
And he only did what he had to do, you know. The efficiency of movement was really all that move was with the Cap.
He stopped. He put Iron Man down by breaking his arc reactor so that the suit wouldn't work, right? But he wasn't trying to kill him. He was just trying to stop him. And that's what, you know, a real hero would do, would just try and stop you, no matter what, right? Because that fight was pretty heated and intense. But you got, you know, John Walker, and he just goes for it, man. And, like, he hits this dude as many times in his chest, or maybe even his neck, I couldn't tell.
Right.
As hard as he could.
Disney.
As hard as he could, as many times as he could, bro.
You've never seen, you know, Steve use the shield that way. Mm-hmm. You know, as an offensive weapon in that way. So that happened, and we see, you know, the money shot. You know, after, of course, all the cameras looking, the money shot, to me, the most important shot of this entire series is John Walker standing upright with this bloody shield. I mean, as fans...
You got blood on the shield.
Fans are like, Disney, what?
Yeah.
I mean... I don't think anyone expected that,
to
that level. Of course, we didn't see him be decapitated because it's not The Boys on Amazon. Right. But they pushed it.
He literally tarnished the flag.
He did.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what that was. Like, the symbol of, like, yo, man. And everybody's out with their camera phones, so the whole world was watching, you know.
That was major. Yeah. That was major. And they ended it on that note.
Yeah. That was it.
That ended on that note. So we can imagine we have that footage that's going to be traveling. Is America going to cover him?
Right.
Are they going to expose him? Is that how Sam's going to get the shield? Where it's like, nah, you can't do it anymore. And is it going to be? How are we going to move from here?
Are they going to defend their soldiers in some way? Like, you know, a lot of times they do, even when soldiers do wrong.
Right.
You know, it could go a lot of ways. Who knows? they may demote him from Captain America, but still, he's still an asset. He's still a super soldier.
Right.
So we'll still use him, but you can't be Captain America anymore.
Right.
Maybe now you can be
U.S. agent,
or you can be what was his other name? Super Patriot. Mm-hmm. One or the other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So who knows how this will go? We don't. If you have any ideas or questions, write them in the comments. We'd love to hear them. We'll definitely answer them. But that episode was basically the end of the second act, right? Like, it was huge. And we've got 2 episodes to go. So we've got the finale, coming up. The last 2 episodes will be the finale of all of this. And
you almost forgot. I got one more boom for this episode. All
right.
This plot had vaccines mentioned in a couple episodes prior. Do you remember? Because of the coronavirus,
right?
They changed a few scenes. There was supposed to be a virus in this series.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
This particular scene, a lot of things were this and the last one with the serum being killed, with Nagel being murdered. They changed a few things up to be able to take the virus plot line out of it.
That's amazing.
With the vaccine, so that's another interesting tidbit.
I had no idea. I got this comic I just pulled out from 1988. Right. I think I showed it one time before on the show, but on the top here in the little box you got Cap and Battlestar, but that Cap is John Walker, and you see here he's got half of his U.S. agent suit on and half Captain America suit on, and he's fighting between these 2 factions of bad guys. But in this comic book, these bad guys, they go, I can't remember their names, they go after his parents, and they kill his parents. And that's when he snaps. So it's like, the same thing as what happens with Bucky. And once that happens, like at the end of the comic, they kill Battlestar. At the end of the comic, he goes crazy. And they didn't kill his parents on purpose. They were just holding him hostage. But when he was fighting, they started shooting, and the bullets, accidentally hit his parents. And then he starts fighting, and like, he just goes off. And even though that scene when he's like holding the shield and killing that flag smasher, there's a scene in here where he takes one of the bad guy's guns and he like shoves it into his chest and kills him when he starts going berserk.
Nice.
And that from that scene on, he just like keeps going crazy. This is issue 345 of Captain America in 1988. 75 cents, man. You can't find no comic book for 75 cents now. But anyway,
I love that.
I thought I'd pull that back out and show you guys.
I mean, we're real comic book readers, and even I love how they use the influence of this U.S. agent costume for his in the show.
Yeah,
they use the stripes very eloquently.
The star is off to the side.
A lot of heavy influence, man.
Super dope stuff.
Woo!
That was a great episode. So we know that Spellman has been antsy and told the world
Malcolm Spellman,
that we are getting a special surprise guest in episode 5. So we don't know who that is, but what he says is that they can confirm that this is a surprise character, and it is not one we've seen in the MCU before, and not one who is primed to appear in an upcoming film. However, we have learned it's an existing Marvel Comics character who is played by a well-known performer. And the guest star must have knocked it out of the park for Malcolm Spellman to hype up this upcoming episode so much. So,
who can that be?
I don't know. Speculate.
I have nowhere to start. We don't even know. That could be any. I mean, look how many characters that can be.
I'm thinking about that backstory with Captain America. I just can't figure it.
As a new character that we haven't seen,
a brand new character, right? From the Marvel Comics that would play into right now.
I have no idea.
I don't know, man.
I mean, they're dipping into so many storylines.
This next episode will also have the longest runtime at 61 minutes.
We've hit an hour, people. Whew. No, please stand by after 15 minutes.
Nah. You know what? I had a thought because I keep talking about Sharon being the power broker, right? Mm-hmm. And this made me think of in the comics when Steve Rogers was killed, right? And Captain America died in the comics. Mm-hmm. Sharon was brainwashed. And she, I think it might have been by the Red Skull, I think. Or it might have been somebody else. I can't really remember. But she was brainwashed, and she was basically now the Winter Soldier, right? And she shoots Cap when he's on trial. Like, I think he wasn't going with the human registration, the Registration Act. And the whole fight had gotten to like a really crazy place, and he was like, you know what, this is too much, I give up. And he's walking up the steps of the building to go to his trial, and they have him handcuffed, and she shoots him from like 5 blocks away, right? And Captain America dies. What if she's maybe not the power broker, but being mind controlled by the power broker?
She could be controlled.
You know what I'm saying?
She could be a Skrull. You know, she could be...
And who would know how to do that?
Who?
Zemo.
Oh.
Because he did it to Bucky. I'm just saying. It's just a thought that I had. You know, I always try to correlate little bits and pieces back to the comic books because, you know, that's what they do. And that's what makes it fun for us people that, you know, have the knowledge of the comic books to speculate.
It drives us crazy.
Yeah, crazy, man. Crazy. But anyway, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave comments, hit the bell so you can get the notifications for when new episodes come out.
Oh, yeah.
This has been a really crazy ride, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Again, I am LR Blitzkrieg.
I am the Marksman.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys for episode 5, and whew, it's going to be a doozy.
Now, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Follow us. You'll see us on IG Live, MCMIreport.com.
Yes, sir. Aiight So Boom!
Boom.